ID, call forwarding, call waiting, and call blocking.
I think it's time you cut the blue wire.
Cut the blue wire. Save up to $250 on your phone features with RevVoice. Get RevVoice. Save money.
Good evening, Bahamas. Coming up in news tonight, the two alleged gang members at the center of the Nygaard Bacon scandal are in police custody. Clico policyholders line up in the sun to finally receive their payments. Security a top priority for organizers of the upcoming IDB annual general meeting. Plus, fed-up residents gathered outside the city dump in protest of the frequent fires. Welcome to Our News. I'm Dana Smith. Thanks so much for joining us. Topping news tonight, Clico policyholders lined up in the hot sun today in hope of receiving the money they've been waiting years for after their insurance company went into liquidation. While some were collecting on their own policies, some were left to do the honor for deceased loved ones who didn't live to see this day. Kyle Joaquin was there as some danced and some prayed, all just happy as they say their prayers have finally been answered.
God been good to me today. I just feel like running, skipping, jumping. I just was singing and praising God all day.
This mother of three spent the morning dancing and singing after waiting for over 6 years to receive something from 2 Clico insurance policies. Thousands were left paying and wondering if they'd ever get to see the money owed them. But today, people were lining up outside Holy Cross Anglican Church on Soldier Road before 7 a.m., not taking any chances of being missed out to collect their checks.
It was all up in the air, and we really didn't know what was going to happen. And the fact that this is happening now, hopefully we can get some resolution from this and some closure, I guess.
Well, that's not worry about it, because I as a carpenter, I was making money on the side. It didn't bother me. I used to lose it, so I glad it come. So it makes no difference. Now it come, I feel better.
Well, I'm a blessed man, so I believe in all things work together for good to them that love the Lord. There's got to be some good coming out of this. So I've never been discouraged. I always believe at the end of the day, it will happen.
For many, it's been a rough 6 years.
Excruciating, because when you have money out in the weather, as they call it, it's nothing like having it in your hand. So this is a good feeling to know that today I should get my check.
But I'm here for my daughter. Well, she's away to school, and she was in the insurance, And I guess they give you alphabetically. You come in. So I'm Stubbs, so maybe later for me. But I want to get some information from her insurance today.
There are about 4,800 people who are expected to come in to receive a check between today and Wednesday. Bishop Simeon Hall is a Clico policyholder and has been one of the advocates fighting over the 6 years for these policyholders to get their money.
It's a good feeling to see the thing move to fruition. And as we said, we commended both Prime Ministers Ingram for his advising the public to continue to pay. That has put many persons in good position to get something.
A lot of the families are people who have lost a whole lot in terms of medical, in terms of financial positions in life. And so when this happens, it shows that there's hope.
According to Vaughn Culmer, manager at Clico Operations on Mount Royal Avenue, the biggest check any of the policyholders will be receiving at this time is $10,000. But he said that covers the majority of them. He added that those owed more than $10,000 will receive the balance over a period of 90 days in government bonds.
The claimants that are being served today are those that are owed balances on death claims, medical claims, those who surrendered since the liquidation, endowments or pensions that became due during that time. They are being served today.
Now, we can expect to see these long lines up until about next Wednesday when the payment process will wrap up here and head over to Freeport, Grand Bahama. Reporting from Holy Cross Anglican Church for Our News, I'm Kyle Joaquin.
Well, as hundreds of Clico policyholders were lining up, leader of the Democratic National Alliance, Branville McCartney, says although he is happy for those policyholders, he called it laughable that government has taken so long to reimburse them. Our Giorgio Bain has the story.
That's right, Dana. While hundreds of policyholders were lined up to receive their back pay from their policies, Democratic National Alliance leader Branville McCartney says it's laughable that it took the government this long to get those policyholders their money. But he says the real question now is, where are the funds coming from?
That's a laughable question because they haven't followed through on anything they've decided to do. Well, let me just say I'm glad that persons are being paid. It's been a long time coming. And so certainly that is a good thing that persons are getting their monies. The question is, where's the money coming from? I'm not too clear on that. I don't think the government has been clear as to where these funds coming from and ultimately who's paying for it.
McCartney said the question now is, where has the government gotten the millions of dollars to pay these policyholders? He also questioned what kind of legislation is now going to be put in place to ensure that another Clico fiasco never happens.
I don't know. I will tell you, because of us not having the necessary protective measures in place, Clico was allowed to do foolishness and do what they did. We need to ensure in the future that that never happens and that we have the protective measures and rules and regulations in place for not only insurance companies but banks and other entities coming to this country.
McCartney says he cannot answer why it took the government so long, but according to him, it is obvious that it's just another attempt by the government to add to their legacy as the time is winding down to the next general election, and it's not an attempt to do the right thing.
So why it took so long? I don't know. I honestly can't answer that. I can only say that the government is probably now, as an election is drawing near, they wish to probably say that they did something for the Bahamian people, because finding things on what this government did for the Bahamian people are few and far between.
McCartney says now it's up to the Bahamian people to demand answers as to where those funds have come from. Reporting for our news, I'm Georgia Bain.
Thanks, Giorgio. Well, after weeks of controversy and heated arguments in Parliament over an alleged murder plot, Police Commissioner Ellison Greenslade announced last night that Livingston Togi Bullard and Whistler Bobo de Vilma have been arrested. The two men have been named in court documents as being involved in an alleged murder plot targeting wealthy hedge fund manager Louis Bacon, Fred Smith QC, and others. In a message to reporters last evening, Greenslade said, "I will not play out the investigation in the press, but I can confirm to you that Togi and Bobo are in police custody." The men were arrested early Wednesday morning in separate locations. But when asked if the men will be charged with anything, the commissioner said not at this time. When reached for comment today, the commissioner reiterated that no charges have been considered yet, adding that there's a lot more work to be done before we reach conclusions. Well, a 20-year-old man is dead after he was shot at Smith's Point Fish Fry in Grand Bahama. According to police reports, officers were called to the scene shortly after 2 a.m. today, where they discovered the victim had been transported to the Rand Memorial Hospital in a private vehicle, suffering from multiple gunshot wounds to the body. He succumbed to his injuries at the hospital. Police are actively investigating the matter and appeal to anyone who may have information concerning this incident, no matter how small or insignificant the tip may seem, to anonymously contact them. And today's a historic day for Cable Bahamas since it's relaunching Cable 12 as Our TV. To tell us more about it, we have here in the studio Mr. David Burrows, Vice President of Marketing for Cable Bahamas. Hello, Mr. Burrows, and welcome.
Hi, Dana. Thank you so much.
Why the change?
Well, Our TV is really another way of us reaching into the community. We want to focus more on our culture, our people, our islands, our community. We think it's a very important branding tool by using the word our, because it's about our people. It's about the way we live. And we believe that there needs to be a greater voice for the people in the community to be able to express themselves, to see themselves in particular. And Our TV is about a more open way of people being able to see themselves, their history, where they've come from, and where they're going.
Excellent. What can we see at Our TV? Are there some new programs going on?
Well, our first focus is going to be on the news. As you can see, we've developed this brand new set. We've just spent about $1.5 million on turning our station into HD, building a brand new set, a brand new studio, and that's the first step. And we're going to continue developing that product. We have quite a number of others that are in the works at the moment, focusing again on our culture, our people, and expanding so that we get more voice to people in the Family Islands.
Excellent. As you had mentioned, this is one of the most dramatic changes that we've seen.
Yes.
What are we going to see as part of our news?
Well, again, that is where we start focusing more on the Family Islands to make sure that we're more of a national news broadcast, so that we need to know what's happening in Inagua and Mayaguana. We need to know what's happening in Andros. We need to know what's happening in Grand Bahama. So we want to expand our coverage to ensure that we're reaching, I should say, telling more of the story of our country on a nightly basis.
Yes, and we are so glad to be a part of this vision. Thank you for joining us, David.
Thank you, Dana.
Well, when we come back, officials are gearing up for that major IDB meeting at the Baha Mar Conference Center. Stay with us.